Welcome back to Build It with Dave. I'm Dave. Today we are removing the engine cover right here on top of the intake manifold, inspecting everything underneath it, inspecting the oils, all the fluids. We'll be inspecting the belts. Just pretty much looking for vacuum leaks, dry rotted hoses. I'm making a checklist of everything that I need to drain or repair or fix. And there's a few things, not a lot, but we were able to get it running after it sat for 5 years in a backyard. Everyone thought it was never going to run again, but turns out all it needed was a fuel pump to get it running. But it was running a little rough, so we're going to pull some spark plugs out today. At least one of them, and we're going to take a look at the health of those. I imagine they probably need to be replaced. I will say one thing about this engine. I've looked up, how to rebuild them, how to replace timing chains, all that kind of stuff. I've even got a Haynes manual that came with the vehicle. But I'll say that this 4.0, if I have to take it apart, it's almost worth it just to swap it out and put something else in there. But we're gonna see how far this 4.0 will take us, because we don't have a whole lot of finances for this project right now. This brand new battery I put in actually just came from my previous vehicle. I had two batteries. That was my backup battery for my old vehicle, and it just happened to fit in this one. So lucky we were able to at least have a battery from the start. My buddy was able to hook me up with a fuel pump. So, we're going to do the best we can. It might be a slow build at first. But if we pick up traction and we get a lot of people interested in it, then we might be able to build it faster than I'm expecting. Because there's not a whole lot that needs to be done, honestly. But, we are going to replace all the fluids. Like I said, most likely the spark plugs. Put some new filters in it. And just see where that goes. But, if you see something that needs to be fixed and I haven't mentioned it, definitely leave a comment down below, because I do plan on fixing a lot of things on this vehicle. Mostly things that are going to be things that I want to use, like AC. I don't know if the AC works yet. I thought this was pretty cool. We found this book in the glove box, and it's the original owner's manual. So you get all these little different pamphlets in here, information booklets. But yeah, this was all given with the vehicle when it was first purchased. I thought this was pretty cool right here. Ford roadside assistance. I don't know how many manufacturers offer this, but yeah, pretty cool. I wonder if they still do that. Does anyone know? Leave a comment below. And of course, last but not least, don't forget to take your safety advice. There is a pretty significant dent on the right passenger fender, but I'm not going to worry about that, because I'm either going to chop the fenders or put some fiberglass fenders on there, so I'm not going to really worry about that all so much. Checking all the door handles right now. I do have an exterior door handle on the driver rear handle that needs to be replaced. This button too for the hatch window keeps getting stuck, and I don't know. I've tried to hit it with WD-40. I've taken the thing apart. The hinges are real loose at the top. I need to tighten that up. So the hatch needs a little bit of work to get it operating properly, but at least the hatch opens. The gas struts still work, unlike the engine struts. Yeah, this little piece is for the defrost. Need to solder it back on there. I was thinking about cutting out this bed right here. That's what I'm pointing at right here, the line that I would follow to cut out the bed and the fenders to allow for a tube chassis back there. This rear axle right here was actually swapped in by the previous owner. He got a junkyard axle, and the only problem with it, because it is an 8.8 rear end, is that it has the wrong gearing in there. It does not match the front axle gearing. So my diff came with 410, and the gears that are in this rear end are 355. So when you get up to speed, it does want to chirp a little bit. So I need to at least disconnect the front drive shaft for now. I don't, obviously recommend that for anyone, but that's what I'm going to do to alleviate the problem until I can get new rear end gears to match the 410 front. 'Cause I prefer the 410 gears over the 355. 355 probably get better gas mileage, but for like off-roading and towing, the 410 are ideal. Missing a accent there, fender accent, but like I said, I'm not going to really worry about that kind of stuff either because all that stuff's going to come off. The as you can see, the floorboards are already bare. The previous owner had ripped out the carpet, the padding, all that stuff, which was actually pretty cool because then it made it easier for me to get access to the fuel pump and stuff like that too. Like a lot of the seat bolts were already detached. All right, so in order to gain access to the spark plugs, you've got to remove quite a bit of equipment. Otherwise, this engine bay is real tight. I can't even imagine what Ford would probably charge you to replace all the spark plugs in this vehicle. You got 6 of them. It's a V6. I'm going to guess that it's about 2 hours in labor that they charge you, maybe between 2 and 3, possibly. So, most shops around here are charging about $240 an hour. You might find some smaller shops charging $200 an hour. So, based on that math, at the low end, you'd probably be spending between $400 to $600 on labor, as high as possibly like $700. Maybe even higher in some shops. I don't know. Spark plugs are anywhere from $10 to $20 a piece. So you're talking about $60 to $120 just for parts. So that's just almost close to another $1,000 job. It's crazy. Like, we already know that how much they would have charged us to put a fuel pump in this vehicle. It only cost me $95 to put a fuel pump in this vehicle. But that's only because I did it myself. I was able to save almost $1,000 by doing it myself. I encourage everyone out there to buy a set of tools and start working on some of your own stuff. You're going to save yourself a ton of money, and you're going to gain a lot of independence by learning how to do all this stuff on your own. And it really just starts with starting to take things apart and just taking a mental note of where everything went. If you can take things apart and put them back together the way they went, you're ahead of the population out there. Let me tell you what. The tool set that I'm working with today was from Harbor Freight, and they're a good baseline set of tools. They're made by Pittsburgh, and they work just as good as any other tool out there. And for a basic mechanic setup, it's got a 1/2-inch drive, 3/8 drive, and a 1/4-inch drive. It's come with every basic hand tool you need, and that will do 80% of the jobs in most vehicles out there today. It was probably like $200, but I caught it on sale, and I think I paid somewhere around $140 for it. So, if you find a sale at Harbor Freight on the weekends, you can save even more money. I'm still baffled I haven't gotten to one spark plug yet. If this was my old truck, my Nissan Titan, I would probably already have 4 spark plugs out. And that's probably why Fords are usually found on road dead. I know, cliche, right? But I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack from all you Ford guys out there that love these Ford Explorers. But and it may grow on me. I may end up loving it one day too. But right now, it's a labor of love having to get it back up and running. Well, right now we're just going to continue removing all these bolts to get this reservoir tank out of here, because I really can't even reach my hand down in there to remove the spark plug wire without getting rid of this reservoir. But it seems like there's just like hidden bolts everywhere. Nothing's real, out in the open. Like, here I am. You kind of got to peek around the corner, peek under the fender to find all the bolts. And I could have probably made it easier on myself and opened up the Haynes manual, but this kind of stuff is pretty rudimentary to me. It's just like, common sense. You just keep removing bolts until it comes out. And then once it comes out, obviously there's going to be some hoses attached to it you got to detach, and there's probably going to be a plug attached to the windshield wiper pump motor that pumps all your windshield fluid up to your wipers. And once I get removed this box, then I should have access to at least the first spark plug. And past that, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because it looks like there's gonna be like more stuff blocking than just this reservoir to get to the last two plugs on the side of the engine block. I'm almost wondering if you have to pull this engine out to replace those spark plugs, or have a specialized tool to be able to remove the spark plug wires, even, because these wires are on there pretty tight, and you'll see. And this airbox was a little tricky. It was blocking a couple of the bolts for the reservoir to come out, so I got to even remove the lower airbox. And these rubber boots that it's stuck in, they're just real dry, so I'm trying to spray them with WD-40 so they'll be a little bit easier to pull out. But it was real tough to get that lower airbox out. Personally, I wish the engineers would stop putting these stupid rubber bushings in. It's one thing when the cars are brand new. If you have to maintenance something when it's brand new, the thing just probably pops right out. But these rubber bushings get hard and stiff, and it kind of locks them in there. It shouldn't be that hard to pull out. And the downside to it is, if you don't lube all these bushings up and you keep pulling and pulling and pulling, a lot of times these air boxes get brittle. They're just plastic, ABS plastic, and they get brittle. So like, you don't want to pull on them too much, and then they break, and now you got to go get another air box. To me, overall, it's not going to really matter about the air box, because I'm going to put a colder air system on it. I'd really like to wrap the air intake around this corner where the headlight's at, up into the cab where the glove box is, so the filter is actually in the cab, getting clean and cooler air. And the only benefit to that is just, a little bit more horsepower. Plus, you don't have to worry about your filter being exposed to the engine bay. There we go. We're finally getting it out now. You can see those stupid rubber bushings. I wish they would just put bolts in them like some of the other manufacturers out there. You just unbolt it and it comes right out. Easy peasy. And as cars are getting newer and newer, they're engineering these cars to be more difficult to work on yourself. Even seasoned mechanics are having a hard time with a lot of these newer vehicles. All right, hopefully, I think that was one of the last bolts there. Should be able to pull it out now. Or was there one more? Can't remember. Feels pretty loose. I think you just gotta kind of work it out of there. Okay. I think some of the plastics were stuck on the tabs, or maybe there was one more bolt. Yeah, there we go. Let's get this one out. Oh no, I remember now. There was a Phillips head screw holding it in. It's like, okay, the bolts aren't enough. We got to have a stupid Phillips head screw there too. There we go. Let's tug on it again and see if we can't get it out of here. Oh yeah, that's what it was. It's the hood sensor. So when you close your hood, the hood light goes off. That's what it was. It had a bolt and a screw. So dumb. There we go. Finally, this reservoir is coming out. Got to detach these hoses from the pump and unplug the power cord to the pump. And there's some vacuum lines here. One of them is completely melted. Probably have to end up replacing that, but we'll probably just bypass it for now. There's a piece of it.
Well, that might be why it's running rough.
If you watched the previous video, then you know I told you that there was a fire in this engine bay where the air filter box was, because someone had tried to spray or pour gasoline into the airbox instead of detaching it from detaching the pipe from the throttle body and just spraying inside of the throttle body directly, which filled up the entire air intake with fumes that are flammable, and it most likely had a backfire, and it caught the whole airbox on fire, singed the air filter and everything. So you really got to be careful and know what you're doing when you're trying to diagnose vehicles. You can't just dump gasoline into an air intake box and expect it to not catch on fire. Alright, we finally got access to one of the plugs. How long did that take me? Jesus, it was like half an hour just to get to the first plug. And it's locked on there. It's not coming off very easily. What I really need is some of those long needle nose pliers, but I'm going to use these. They're a fuel disconnect tool, but I've used them before in the past. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It didn't, so I've got this plastic body tool that I'm going to try and pry it off with and see if that works. Alright, there we go. It was stubborn, but we were able to get it off. Let's get our spark plug tool. There she is. Those exhaust manifolds looked a little rusted. Hopefully they're not cracked. Hopefully they're not leaking. Had to even use a swivel in here to be able to use my socket wrench. There we go. Have this thing out in a jiffy. As I'm pulling this spark plug out, I am noticing that at least they put the alternator on top of the engine and not the bottom of the engine. I can't stand when manufacturers put alternators at the bottom of the engine. Oh God, this spark plug is toast. That's why it was running rough. Look how thin it is. The points are worn down. Yeah, these things have like well over 50,000 miles on them. They probably haven't been replaced in 100,000 miles. We can clean it up a little bit for now, but I'm going to get some new plugs and put them in there. Yeah, these next two plugs are going to be a real pain in the butt to get to. I don't even think I can get my socket or my ratchet in there. I'm going to probably have to improvise because there's not a straight shot to it. On my left-hand side, there's some foil covering a box. It looks like it's in conjunction with the AC unit. I'm going to have to look it up in the Haynes manual to see exactly what it is. So I don't know if I can just remove that without having to break the AC lines. That will be a major pain in the butt and really tick me off if I have to do that much work just to replace these spark plugs. Or on the flip side, also, the other option is, do they, from the factory, think that you need to just remove this engine? Which I think that's completely inefficient. You should never have to remove your engine just to replace things like spark plugs. You're talking about a $60 to $100 project doing it yourself versus another $1,000 project or more if you have to pull the engine. That's just crazy. It's no wonder so many Fords are in the junkyard. People just don't want to deal with it. The repairs are too expensive. The vehicles lose their value. And yeah, but it's a good thing for guys like me because there's parts readily available in the junkyard if you need them. Well, we are coming pretty close to the end of this video, and I just want to say thank you for watching and giving me some pointers down in the comments, letting me know what you guys will be doing. Like I said, this will probably be a slow project. As we get finances for it, we'll continue to build it up. For right now, I at least want to get it to the point of being a daily driver for me. And then after that, we'll start working on things like upgrading the suspension, upgrading the tires, adding a roll cage, maybe some bucket seats, custom fuel cell. I don't know. Quite a bit we could do with this thing. There's a lot of aftermarket support for these vehicles. A lot of stuff I think you can swap between the Rangers and stuff too. So it's going to be fun. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up to help me out with the algorithm. Subscribe to catch the next video. I'm going to try and throw up some updates at least once a week on this thing. If I can do more, I'll do more. But as of right now, we're just trying to get this thing running. But I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Catch you next time. Cheers.